Have you ever wondered what's rotting beneath the sacred stone floors of royal cathedrals, where prayers rise for the souls of kings and queens, but no one asks what's become of their flesh? Some stories aren't written in history books, but whispered through the creak of splintering wood and the silent hiss of a lead coffin. And today, we'll listen to one of those stories. Not of power, but of decay. Not of glory, but of the price it demands. Candle if you're ready to unseal the coffin of time. Like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, and bow your head as we descend into the resting place of Elizabeth I. The woman who once ruled oceans, and now leaks quietly beneath the cold earth. Because like all legends, her ending was never meant to be beautiful. Elizabeth Tudor, known to the world as Gloriana, the Virgin Queen, the final flame of the Tudor dynasty. For 44 years she reigned, not just as monarch, but as a living icon of an age, of discovery, of poetry, of triumph carved from blood and belief. She defeated the Spanish Armada. She survived assassination plots, court betrayals, religious anathemas. But there was one thing she could never conquer. Rot. The rot of the body. After death. It was the fear she never voiced aloud, only left behind in her eyes, in whispered pleas near the end. Please, don't open me. Don't cut. Don't take from me what I must return whole to God. Not war, not Mary Stuart's ghost, but the vision of her own flesh being sliced open, organs removed, stuffed with herbs to prevent a bloated explosion. That was what made England's greatest queen tremble in silence. And like all nightmares we try to outrun, it came. Scissors cut. Split. Scoop. Stuffed with cinnamon and myrrh. All royal commands died with her final heartbeat. Kitchen knife. Now we descend into the room where Elizabeth was dissected by those who once bowed to her crown. In the final days of her life, Elizabeth spoke little of her crown. She didn't mention her victories, nor the names of old enemies. She spoke only of her body, and what it was about to endure. Between fevered dreams and whispering breaths, her servants heard one plea, full of quiet terror: do not open me. Do not cut. I wish to meet God whole. To Elizabeth, her body wasn't just flesh. It was the final vestige of royal dignity. A queen should not be torn apart. Should not be punctured, sliced, or stuffed like rotten meat in a barrel. She had seen corpses swell, explode, collapse mid-funeral. And now, it was her turn. It was a simple request. But in a world of duty, tradition, and a rotting body that couldn't wait, it was a request no one honored. Her heart stopped. And the first blade was already being sharpened. Dagger she once gave the orders. Now her flesh would lie beneath the knife. Because in death, power means nothing. Only a corpse remains to be dealt with. The moment her final breath faded, Elizabeth was no longer queen. She became a body to be managed. The royal physicians did not cry, kneel, or pray. They opened the embalming chamber, a cold vault, stone floor, no candlelight. And they began their work. Her body was placed on a stone slab. Arms outstretched, head tilted back, as if awaiting judgment. The knives were heated over coal. Then, sliced through velvet and deep into waxy white flesh. Heart. Liver. Lungs. Intestines. All removed by bare hands. Dropped into porcelain basins. No ceremony. No reverence. Her chest cavity lay hollow. They stuffed it with cloves, cinnamon, myrrh, dried petals, not out of honor, but fear. Fear she might swell, rupture, and turn her funeral into horror before the people. Elizabeth, once worshipped like a saint, was now treated as a biohazard. Deodorized, decontaminated, diffused. No hymns were sung. No rites were spoken. Only the clatter of blades, and the rising scent of royal flesh. Drop of blood and yet, even stuffed with spices. Her corpse refused to sleep in silence. Because next, came the final voyage down the river of death. After embalming, Elizabeth was wrapped in crimson velvet embroidered with Tudor roses, the dying breath of a dynasty. She was sealed inside a thick lead-lined coffin, bolted shut with copper nails. All done in full ceremony, but behind it, a silent fear lingered. Because everyone knew, a royal corpse, if improperly prepared, could explode in the middle of the funeral. Such horrors had happened before. Coffins swelling like bellies full of gas, then bursting, spewing rot into the air before nobles, priests, and subjects. Elizabeth, who once signed death warrants in red ink, was now locked in. Not to honor her, but to protect the world from what she had become. As the royal barge carried her down the Thames, thousands lined the riverbanks, dressed in black, heads bowed. But those closest whispered, "There's a smell, strange, sweet but sharp, like rotting flowers." It was death gas. Despite all the herbs and oils, her body still leaked the truth. A sickly reminder that no crown masks decay. Even queens rot. Funeral urn, but the journey wasn't over. Beyond Westminster's stained glass windows, a tomb awaited, one she would share with the deadliest rival of her life. Over 2 centuries after Elizabeth's death, a man named Dean Arthur Stanley descended beneath Westminster Abbey. He wasn't a priest or a nobleman. Just a scholar, oil lamp in hand, obsessed with history, and the secrets buried too long. The heavy stone door creaked open. No bells. Just iron groaning. No prayers. Only the stench of royal rot long forgotten. Stanley saw no grandeur. He saw a shattered coffin. Red velvet turned to dust. Lead once sealing Elizabeth now warped, twisted like a grotesque smile. The initials ER, Elizabeth Regina, still faintly carved, like a whisper from the dead. But horror wasn't done yet. Above Elizabeth's remains lay the coffin of Mary I, the queen who burned England for faith, who once vied for Elizabeth's throne. 2 queens. 2 bloodlines. 1 vault. Enemies in life, eternal neighbors in death. New moon, and in that shadowed pit, Stanley understood something no history book had ever told. No one remains a legend in the dark. Not even a queen, buried beneath the stench of her own legacy. Dean Stanley expected to find a perfectly preserved royal mummy. He hoped to witness the eternal beauty people spoke of when describing royal death. But Elizabeth was not at rest. Her body, though stuffed with myrrh and cloves, had continued to decay for centuries. Trapped gases built up inside, and like a beast in a cage, her corpse began to push back. Lead warped. Velvet darkened with seepage. The coffin swelled. Wood vanished into pulp, leaving only brittle royal dust. The last trace of Elizabeth, a hand-stitched Tudor rose, had faded into a yellow stain on rotting cloth. This was no sleep. This was slow disintegration in silence. Above, tourists walked the polished floors of Westminster Abbey, taking photos, admiring stained glass. But just beneath their feet, lay a queen who never truly found peace. Crown death doesn't end when the heart stops. It continues. Quietly. Patiently. And no one escapes it, not even those who wore a crown. Elizabeth I did not die in glory, she decayed in silence. She once signed the death warrant of a queen. And in the end, stacked in the same vault, they were no longer rivals. Just 2 corpses, rotting side by side, in a darkness no candle dared disturb. The coffin swelled. Lead bent. Velvet rotted. Every layer of power peeled back to reveal the truth all crowns fear: we all rot in the end. You've just walked through a door, not of time, but of truth's history usually hides behind robes and statues. And this is only one of hundreds of coffins lying still beneath stone. Drop of blood if you're not afraid of royalty yet. Perhaps you haven't truly smelled it. Like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell. So next time we lift the lid on another coffin, you'll be the first to hear it creak.